Hey everybody, it's Brian Woodworth. You probably thought you were going to get rid of me, but here I am. But hey, I wanted to share with you a conversation that I had with an amazing woman who has one of the most remarkable stories I probably have ever heard somebody share with me. And she doesn't even realize, one, how amazing she is, at least not fully, and how beautiful and remarkable her story really is. And part of the reason why that is because of why or how society has looked down on certain activities, and they've created this stigma and this negative connotation around certain things that don't fall in alignment with the boundaries and the limitations that have been set by society. So this woman, as I said, remarkable, beautiful, amazing woman with a beautiful story. Her and I are having a conversation yesterday, and because of her story and society, there's some shame, some regret, and some guilt that she's been carrying around for years based on her life and some of the decisions and choices that she made, and how society looks at that. And it's an interesting situation. So as she's sharing her story and her life with me, that I'm so honored and grateful, I'm humbled that she had the courage to share her vulnerability and her story with me. I just kept telling her I was in awe, I was inspired, I was grateful, I was humbled, because this story was so beautiful. So as she's telling me her story and telling me about the regret and guilt and the shame that she's been carrying around, she said something to me where she's been doing the work and she's been doing her best to let it go and just be okay with it. But it was something that she was trying to get rid of and let go. And as soon as she said that, something came into me, and I immediately said something to her, and I said, look, I want you to consider something. I said, think about this and see how it feels to you, and see if it makes sense to you, and see if it resonates with you. I said, anytime we are trying to get rid of something or let something go that we don't like, what we essentially are doing is trying to let go and get rid of something that is us. It's just in a form of a story, a circumstance, a situation, a past experience. But it's still part of us. And when we try to get rid of something or let go of something that's part of us, what tends to happen is we get more of that in which we're trying to let go or get rid of, because it's part of us. It's almost like if you wanted to get rid of your arm and you try to chop it off, and one, it's going to be painful, but it's not going to just naturally go because it's part of you. It's the thought of, why would we even want to let go or get rid of something when it is part of us? And that's the challenge, because when something doesn't feel good and it causes suffering or pain in our life, we don't like the sensation that is associated with. So the natural reaction from the brain is to get rid of it, because it's a sensation that we just don't enjoy, we don't like. But when you start doing the deeper work and you start becoming aware, you realize that no matter what, good, bad, ugly, whatever our situation is, whatever our story is, whatever our past experience is, it's still part of us. So why would we ever want to get rid of or let go of something that is part of us? So I suggested to her, I said, think about that, but also here's what I want you to start considering doing. Is I said, instead of trying to get rid of something or letting something go. Instead, why don't you start loving it and embracing it as part of you? Because you're an amazing woman. Even if you don't realize it fully, you're an amazing woman. Your stories, your past circumstances, your situations are still part of you. It's still a part of the beauty of who we really are. So why would we ever want to get rid of that? As painful as it may seem, those experiences are the opportunity for the biggest growth or biggest expansion within us. Because if we don't have those challenging, those intense, or those negative situations, we have no reference point as to what the opposite and the other side of the spectrum really is. So it's in those moments of intense energy, those struggles, those challenges, those real heavy type energy situations that we find ourselves in, those are the opportunity for our biggest expansion. So what we need to do is we need to learn to identify what they are as opportunities and start loving them and embracing them. Because here's what I'll tell you. When we start loving and embracing the intense moments or the negative moments, just as much as we embrace and love the positive, the higher vibrational, the magical moments, it's amazing what naturally happens. And what naturally happens is when we love and embrace those negative or those intense moments or situations or past experiences, they'll naturally fall away. It's almost like the adage that says, kill them with kindness or love them to death. It's the same thing when we have that negative or intense experience that we are trying to get rid of or let go. So if you find yourself in a situation like this amazing woman is finding herself in, that you're carrying around shame, regret, or guilt, know this. Shame, guilt, and regret is operating from the paradigm of good and bad. And good and bad is made up with or through society. It's the limitations and the boundaries of what should be. So if you find yourself shame, regret, guilt, understand that that is a made up paradigm from society and is a paradigm or a mindset from a good and bad situation or good and bad standpoint. When we're being our true nature, what we really are, there is no such thing as good and bad. There's no limitations. There's no boundaries. It just is. So understand, if you're carrying around shame, guilt, or regret, you're operating from a mindset and a paradigm as good and bad. And that's your indicator that you're further away from being your true nature. But the practical side of things, until you can get there, understand that start loving and embracing the intense, negative, past experiences and circumstances, and start loving them and embracing them, and they'll naturally fall away. Because like I said, when we can start embracing and loving the negative, heavy energy and the intense situations that we've experienced, just as much as we can the positive, uplifting, and magical moments, life takes on a whole new dimension. So again, if you're struggling with any shame, regret, or guilt, understand paradigm, good, bad, that's made up from society. You're further away from who and what you really are as your true nature. So start moving back towards that, get into a meditation, and understand to love and embrace those intense negative moments and experiences. So that being said, stay well.